Oh, hey, I am so glad you made it to your midweek shot in the arm. And today's shot is responsibility. You ready? Let's go. Responsibility, simply put, refers to the duty a person has to carry out a task. We are headed straight to our instruction manual. And listen, today's instructions come from the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15 from the Message Bible. And it reads, "If you decide that it is a bad thing to worship God, then choose a God you'd rather serve and do it today. Choose one of the gods your ancestors worshiped from the country beyond the river, or one of the gods of the Amorites whose land you're now living. As for me and my family, we'll worship God." The King James Version says, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Amen. You guys already know I'm going to encourage you to read your word and spend some time understanding the context, right, of what Joshua poses or charges, if you will, as he's on his deathbed. But for today, my God, I'm already excited. I even got started. For today's purposes, I want to hone in on the A clause of this verse, which states, "If you decide that it's a bad thing to worship God, then choose a God you'd rather serve and do it today." Now, I had no idea that the "as for me and my house" verse had anything to do with responsibility, as much as it was just choosing to serve the Lord. So the verse was given to me and I was pondering and I just couldn't quite grasp where God was headed. So the revelation came at about 4 in the morning, right? So I got up and I began writing down very quickly what God was giving me. And one of the things that he revealed to me is that most people, not any of you, but other people, right? Most people only quote the ending of the verse. "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And I know I'm not the only one who've heard people say that. And if I'm really being honest, one of the memories he gave me was that back in the day, I thought that verse was just that. "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Way back in the day, this was my thoughts, because I always saw it. I saw it on people's mantles. I saw it hung up in people's house. I saw it on their doormats, right? And all it said was, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24 and 15. So it wasn't until I started reading the Bible, like I encourage you to do, that I realized there is much more to this verse. So let's look at the A clause, right? In the A clause, there lies responsibility. Responsibility that must take place before you can confidently say, "As for me and my house," right? So let's look at it again. And we're looking at it from the Message Bible for context. For context, I wanted to make it very plain, okay? It reads, "If you decide that it is a bad thing to worship God, then choose a God you'd rather serve and do it today." Listen, it is your responsibility to choose if you want to serve the living God who can do all things, or if you want to serve the little g God who can do no thing. It is your responsibility to choose whether you want to walk in the fullness of the God who holds your life in his hands, come on, or if you want to follow a God that pretends to hold your hand, a God of illusion. It is your responsibility to choose to follow the one true God who is with you at all times, or follow a group of gods whom you can't count on. Hear me closely. It is your responsibility to choose. No one can do it for you. Nobody. And builders of the faith, when you hear a message like we heard on Sunday, right? And I encourage you to go back and listen to it on Spotify. But when you hear a message like we heard on Sunday, and then you begin to process your turnaround that has been spoken over our house, the thing that you're expecting, the thing that you feel you need, the thing that you're believing in, and then you hear a message like Sunday and says it's coming by way of the supernatural, Come on, it gives even more credence to your responsibility. It gives more credence to this verse that we are looking at. It is your responsibility to make a choice to serve a God who responds in the supernatural. Come on, your choices have consequences. My God, you can choose to serve another God, but then don't expect to experience the supernatural. You can choose to serve another God, but don't expect the benefits of serving the one true and living God, okay? We have to take responsibility for our lives and begin to dispel the carnal nature. Come on, that sinful behavior. We have to take responsibility and stop making excuses. Those excuses can stop us from receiving our turn around. We have to stop the blame game, come on, and take responsibility for our choices. But, Lady Monique, I come from an abusive family. Lady Monique, I come from a family of alcoholics. Lady Monique, I come from a family that kept all kind of secrets. I come from a family that steals. I come from a family that you fill in the blank. You fill in the blank. Because that is what the blame game looks like. Because if I can always point at a reason as to why I respond the way I do, then you will never take responsibility for your choices. Come on, we all have a story. We all have some things that have taken place in our lives to some degree or another. So while it is not your fault what you may have gone, let me pull myself together. While it is not your fault, okay, what may have gone wrong, it is certainly your responsibility to do something about it. I wanted to slow down right there. It may not be your fault, the things that have taken place, the things that you've gone through, the things that have happened, the things that you were born into, but it is your responsibility to do something about it. It is your responsibility to make a decision today. All right. So if you found yourself pointing your finger for whatever reason, I encourage you to take a look inward. Come on. And before you make a decision regarding anything, think about your responsibility. And as you do that, I want you to think about your respond ability. This, my friends, is your ability to respond based on which God you are serving. When you serve the true living God, your respond ability is not laced with the blame game. Come on, it's not trying to find loopholes, because the choice that was made came with consequences. Come on, that allowed you to confidently say, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what anybody else is saying. I don't care what's going on. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Selah. Now remember, this shot is for you. So maximize your shot of responsibility along with respond ability. Until next time.